Hey guys, it's Lindsay. Excuse me. We are doing the reading for Leo for 2026. As always, if any of these messages don't align for you, please take only what you need and leave the rest. You are the creator of your own destiny. You are the creator of your own story. And I am doing a group reading. So it's up to you to know what is for you and what is not for you. We have all our let's light all the candles. This one. Look at the wax. Very witchy. Very witchy. Good Lord. Okay. And one more candle. And it's funny because I usually don't insist on lighting all the candles, Leo, but I'm lighting all the candles and you are a fire sign. So this one's pretty cool. It's a snake. Can you see? It's a snake. There we go. Why am I lighting all the candles? Because you are a fire sign and we need that energy in the reading. Even though you can't see it, the energy's there. And I also feel like you are in the process of relighting your candles, Leo. I think for many of us, 2025 blew out our candles, right? Every candle we had, gone. 2026 is about getting them back. Maybe not getting all of them back, but getting some of them back. Getting some of them back. Somebody's going to be moving. Someone's moving. We got the Chariot. We also have the Ten of Cups. And then we have the Page of Cups. So it's interesting because the Ten of Cups came in first. 10. Chariot, Page. And that's a pretty interesting aura. Aura. Why am I saying aura? That's a pretty interesting aura. That's a pretty interesting order. That's a pretty interesting aura. Who has an interesting aura? I think what has happened here in 2025, Leo, is you're stepping from one point of your life, one space where you were fulfilled or you thought you were fulfilled, and now you're being forced in some ways, but also by your own volition, to go somewhere else, to be somewhere else, to do something different in 2026. And not that it's entirely unexpected, because I do think in some ways that you intuited this, that you knew that this was going to happen. But I think this move is going to be a lot more intense than maybe you originally thought. Not necessarily intense, but there's going to be a lot more involved, okay? Excuse me. We lit all the candles and now I'm coughing. 3 of Wands. Okay? So what I see is you're quite literally moving from one place to another physically. And if that is not true for you, it is work related. And it's not entirely unexpected, as I said, but it is a little bit difficult for you because where you were or where you are right now, you've been happy. You've felt content certain ways, or you felt like you're comfortable, okay? And now that you are kind of understanding that you're going to have to move and or leave, you're grappling with this, right? Grappling is an interesting word. Grappling, does that not have to do with climbing? Is that the origin of the word? I don't know. You're grappling. I'm hearing The Climb. The Climb by Miley Cyrus. You are grappling with the climb in 2026. With this change. And it's not like you haven't been through a lot of changes in your life. You have. More than most people. And so you do pretty well with change. And sometimes you actually incite change in your life because you get bored. But that's not what happened here. That's not what happened here, the Sun. You were satisfied, and or you thought you were satisfied. And now you're being forced to move. I'm going to put out this candle. We're going to... Candles are all nice until you're sensitive, right? Things are all good until it gets a little too intense. And I think part of what that was, part of that intensity is you were expecting things where you are or where you have been to go one way. And it's going the other. Okay? We have the Empress and the Sun. Okay? You thought, I'm going here. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to achieve. This is who I'm going to be. And as you get further and further along where you are, you realize that's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. You have a lot more to learn. Emotionally, mentally. And it's hard for you to admit, Leo, you were not as prepared as you thought you were. You were not as prepared as you thought you were. Because Leo is all about how things look, right? How the appearances of things. And you can make things look really good. You can make things look really, really good. And you can believe you're prepared and believe you're ready. But sometimes life will throw things at you and you realize you're out of your depth. You're swimming in the ocean out of your depth. The moon, she is out of her depth. And I think a lot of this is events that are completely out of your control and that you couldn't foresee. And as you're going to 2026, you are doing your best to change up and deal with the oncoming, changes. But there's old things creeping in for you, Leo. 8 of Swords. There's old patterns that start creeping in for you around your emotions. And you know this. You're smart enough to know this. And particularly, who is this 2026? Who is this 2026? Somebody's coming back. Part of that is you have somebody coming back around. I would say this is romantic. It can also be an old friendship or somebody who you thought you let go of in your life. And for some reason, they're coming back around. And they may not even be coming back around in the physical sense. They might very well be texting you or connecting with you. But the memories of this person, we have the Hermit. The memories of this person are finding you during your alone time. Okay? And they're digging in. And you're thinking about. Because even though you wouldn't admit it, Leo, even though you wouldn't admit it maybe to anyone or even yourself, you feel like this person was either the relationship wasn't done or the relationship didn't end in the right way, or you had some part in ending the relationship and it doesn't feel done, but that's kind of what is coming through. And for many of you, I think it's romance. And so you're getting back into that energy. 2 of Pentacles. 2026. because you're in upheaval, you're in change, and you're in change that, you didn't orchestrate. And that's what Leo hates. Leo hates being at the whims of exterior pressures, people, events. Leo needs to be in control, and when they're not in control, they resort to their patterning, which may not always be the greatest. Because secondary to that, as we said, Leo needs to have their life look a certain way. And the thing about that is life is not always going to look shiny and good. You can put on a really good front, but that's a lot of energy. And you know this. You know this. 10 of Wands. And so 2026 is like deconstructing who you thought you were. Deconstructing who you thought you were, what you thought you were doing, where you thought you were going. It's an obliteration of the ego. Okay? And it did start in 2025, but I think this is like, and why? What is the message? What is the message behind this? Why would that be happening? Something about forcing. It's something about you forcing your will upon the world, Leo. And you recognizing that you can't do that anymore. You can't force everything to be what you want or how you want it to be. 8 of Wands. You can't create the world exactly as you want it because there are outside influences that are beyond your control. And this is where you get angry. Because why can't the world be like what you want? Why can't the world be what I demand of it? Why can't this person be the way I demand them to be? The way I need them to be. And you need them to be a certain way. You need the world to look a certain way. Because what happens if it doesn't? And that's the real question. That's the question for 2026. What happens if your world doesn't look a certain way? I really want you to think about this. Okay? If everything you know was completely deconstructed, if your sense of self was completely deconstructed, what would that look like and what would that feel like, right? Because sometimes it requires a complete destruction of self, a complete destruction of the ego, and Leo in many ways is the sign associated with the ego because they are associated with appearance, for us to truly understand who we are. I'm also seeing some other things in 2026 that you may already be dealing with. Some things with your eyes, specifically, with your eyesight. So you may be having trouble with your eyesight, your vision. And I do think that there is obviously a medical issue, but I think a lot of it is the energetic, that you are refusing to see the world in any other way than the way that you want to see it. And it's interesting to me because it's reading like Capricorn energy in the way that they see things in a very particular box, and they don't like their schedule to be changed. They don't like things to be changed. And Leo, on the outside, seems very effervescent, seems like they could, be the life of the party, be like, let's try this and let's try this. But on the inside, it's a very different story. They are very rigid. they're very particular about their life and who they allow in their life and how they want their life to be. And that's like similar to the rigidity of the Capricorn. Okay? They just show it. They don't show it, right? And we're talking about eyesight. We're also talking about head. So something with the eyesight may also have to do with the head. So migraine related, I'm seeing like visual disturbance with migraine for some of you. That can be confirmation. But 2026 for you, Leo, is about learning about who you are when everything around you has been deconstructed. Okay? And I know you know how to adapt. We know that. You're very good at being adapting. What you struggle with, though, is that change of view. Is recognizing that your world can't look always the way that you want it. That your relationships can't always look the way you want it. And this again, when we were talking about that relationship coming back, these things can't always look the way you want it. And so who are you? Who are you when that starts to happen? How do you react? How do you show up for yourself? How do you show up for others? Do you shut down? Do you turn away? Do you try to force things? You're going to get a lot of insight in 2026, Leo. I think you're going to get a lot of insight. And it's not going to be easy, but it's not going to be easy, but you're going to do it. Because the other thing about Leo, in a funny way that it relates to Capricorn, even though very different signs, Leo is very stubborn. Leo is extremely stubborn. And you'll do the thing just to say you did the damn thing. I did it. You did it with gritted teeth, but you did it. And you did it while you were raging. Hearing rage against the machine. Rage while you were raging. You raged every single step of the way. You raged every single step of the way. But you got there. Okay? Rage against the machine, Leo. My name is Lindsey Rose. This is Storyteller Tarot. If you would like your own personal reading, you can check out the links. Otherwise, I wish you guys well. Bye.